Welcome to the 2014 Washington University in St. Louis Emergency Preparedness for Residential Buildings Training. Look at the picture. What would you do if you found a large amount of snow had fallen overnight? Would you just close the door and say, "I'll worry about it tomorrow"? No. The university is never truly closed. We may close a campus, but we still have residents on campus that need to be taken care of, fed, the electric has to be on, the heat has to be on, so our job is never done and the university never closes. The goal of this training is to give you the basic information of what to do when faced by different emergencies or disasters. It also gives you a basis on training your residents on what to do when an emergency occurs. The university's Where to Go program is our informational campaign about what to do and where to go during an emergency. More information about this can be found at emergency.wustl.edu, where you can find out information about our Wustl Alerts emergency notification system and what to do for various emergencies. If we have a life-threatening emergency, we'll use our Wustl Alert system, which is our mass communication system, to reach faculty, staff, and students. It's important that you make sure that your contact information is up to date in HRMS for employees and SIS for students as soon as it changes. Using Wustl Alerts, we'll contact people through phone and voice messages, text messages, email, outdoor warning sirens, indoor public address systems, and digital signage. You can always go to our emergency website, emergency.wustl.edu, to verify the emergency and find out further information. Some of our newer technology includes social media such as Facebook and Twitter, public address, and cable TV override. You can also install desktop pop-ups onto your computer by going to the STS website, and we also use our Alertus beacons, which is the top picture. Another newer technology is our Wustl Sentinel app. If you have an iPhone, you can download it from the iTunes store. In the case of an emergency, it's important to know the right number to call to get help as quickly as possible. On the Danforth campus, that'll be the Washington University Police Department at 314-935-5555. For off-campus buildings, you'll call 911 first and then call WUPD for assistance. And if you're ever down at the med school, you'll call Protective Services at 314-362-4357. Fires are our number one threat here at WashU. It's important you know the locations of fire exits and also an alternate so you can get out of the building quickly and safely. If trained, you can use a fire extinguisher to extinguish a small fire. It's very important to always take your keys, wallet, and ID card with you, as you may not be allowed back in the building for hours or days depending on how big the fire is. Once you exit the building, report to the RA or RCD at the emergency assembly point, take a head count, and then remain there and wait further instructions from police, fire department, or facility staff. It's important to train your residents that if there is a fire and the fire alarm system has not been activated yet, manually activate the fire alarm pull station as is pictured up above. Then exit the building and call the appropriate emergency number for your area to report the fire. Immediately exit the building, and if not in immediate danger, close doors behind you to stop the spread of fire. Never use elevators. Gather outside at your assembly point and do not allow people to re-enter the building until instructed to do so by firefighters or public safety staff. If the fire alarm system is already sounding, exit the building immediately, again not using elevators. Call the appropriate emergency number to report the fire. If you know that someone's trapped or left in the building, notify firefighters or public safety staff when they arrive. Then again, gather outside at this emergency assembly point and do not re-enter the building. There are multiple types and sizes of fire extinguishers on campus, but the most common is the Class ABC dry chem extinguisher. It can be used to put out fires ranging from ordinary combustibles such as paper and wood products, Class B flammable liquids, and Class C energized electrical equipment. The extinguishers are inspected monthly by facilities and serviced annually by an outside vendor. If you notice that an extinguisher is damaged or has been used, please report it to facilities immediately. To use a fire extinguisher, we use the acronym PASS, P-A-S-S, which stands for pull the pin, aim the extinguisher at the base of the flame or fire, squeeze the trigger, then sweep from side to side at the base of the fire and approach the fire slowly, always keeping a safe exit to your back. We are required by law to report and document all fires that happen in on-campus residential buildings and list information about fire systems that are installed in those buildings. Information and fire logs are located on the Washington University Police website listed below. The following are fire hazards to look out for that commonly cause fires and are prohibited against use at Washington University. Such things as candles and incense, smoking paraphernalia, covering up smoke alarms or detectors, hanging items from sprinklers, using hot plates, portable heaters, propane tanks, extension cords, and halogen lamps. If you notice these in any of the residential areas, please follow proper procedure to get them removed. Some other fire safety tips are: electrical cords are for temporary use only, i.e. just for a few days at the most. Surge protectors are much better alternative and can be used year-round. Also, door stops are allowed, but only if they remove them when exiting the room or removing them when the fire alarm activates. Otherwise, this goes against the fire code and basic campus security. Also, accumulated items lead to fire hazards, so we need to keep egress hallways, stairwells, rooms, and storage areas tidy and free from clutter. Living in close quarters and bad hygiene can put us at greater risk for flu and communicable diseases. So remember these few steps. 1. If you're sick, stay home from class and events. 2. Get your influenza vaccination annually through Student Health Services. And then using just some basic concepts such as covering your cough and using good hand hygiene, i.e. hand washing or use of hand sanitizer, will go a long way. Check up on one another, and if someone needs to go to the doctor or hospital, then go. If there's a outbreak of a disease, Student Health Services, Res Life, and WashU will provide guidance on how to tackle that. The university has strategically placed AEDs, automatic external defibrillators, around the university. There are 2 in residential life spaces, on the ground floor of the Village House and the ground floor of the South 40 House. Remember, only use them if you are trained, and if you see one missing, please report it to WUPD immediately at 935-5555. While we don't have many strong earthquakes here in St. Louis, it still is a hazard. So we need to think about earthquake preparedness, especially for those that are not from earthquake-prone areas. Beforehand, we can secure heavy objects or move heavy items to lower shelves to better protect ourselves. During an earthquake, we want to remember to drop, cover, and hold on under a sturdy piece of furniture if possible. Also, we want to stay indoors until the shaking has stopped. After the initial earthquake, we want to be prepared for aftershocks, taking cover each time that they occur. We need to check for injuries if it's safe to do so, and call WUPD or 911 to get medical assistance if needed. If you feel that the building is not safe, then exit the building and go to the emergency assembly point. Some things that would render a building not safe would be fire, gas leak, flooding due to broken pipe, downed electrical lines, or weird odors such as hazardous materials or gas. More and more, campuses are seeing threats of violence through active shooters, stabbings, and more. WashU is not immune. It can happen anywhere at any time. So if you are ever involved in a situation where someone has entered the area and started shooting a firearm or displaying a weapon or is threatening to harm people, remember these 4 steps. Run, hide, fight, report. If you can exit the building immediately, do so. If it's not possible to exit, then hide by locking yourself in an office or room, barricading the door, and shutting off the lights. If you encounter anybody while you're exiting the building, notify them that there's a problem and ask them to leave with you. If you're confronted by the attacker, fight if your life is threatened. Use common objects such as books, chairs, cans, whatever you have to try to fight off the attacker. And then when you feel safe or get to a safe location, report it by calling the emergency number for your area, such as WUPD or 911, and give the dispatcher as many details as possible. Just like violence, terrorism and crime are a real threat. So if you see something, say something. Report it right away if you see a suspicious person or package by calling WUPD at 935-5555, 911 for off-campus, or protective services down at the medical school. Always be aware of your surroundings. Tornadoes and severe weather are a common threat here in St. Louis. Typically, tornadoes and severe weather occur from March through October, but we've had them year-round. We need to know the difference between a tornado watch and a warning. A tornado watch means that conditions are favorable for the development of tornadoes or severe weather. This is the time you want to prepare by staying alert, listening to local media through radio, television, or a weather app. Be aware of where you will go and what you will do if a tornado threatens. A tornado warning means that a tornado has been sighted or indicated by Doppler radar. People in the path of the storm should take immediate life-saving actions, which we will discuss later on. So how will you know about a tornado watch or tornado warning? Alerts may come from many different technologies, such as outdoor warning sirens, NOAA weather alert radios, messages from the National Weather Service, local TV news or radio, Nixle, which you can subscribe by going to nixle.com, or if you have a newer smartphone, the National Weather Service will send a wireless emergency alert to your smartphone. Here on campus, we have newer technologies such as desktop pop-ups, digital signage, Alertus beacons, and cable TV override, which is part of our Wustel Alert system. If a tornado warning is issued for St. Louis County or St. Louis City, we will activate our alert system through multiple channels. You should hear outdoor warning sirens, computer pop-up messages, and email messages to all wustel.edu accounts. As I said earlier, you will also receive a WEA alert on your smartphone, but also be advised that sometimes tornadoes occur quickly and the tornado may happen before the alert is issued. Here are a few steps to take before a tornado or severe weather strikes. You want to locate a safe haven for the buildings that you live in or occupy during the day. You want to utilize the lowest innermost part of the building as a safe shelter, such as a hallway, stairway, or basement. If there's no basement in the building, then the lowest level possible is the best place to be. If a tornado warning is issued or severe weather strikes and you are in the path of the storm, you'll want to knock on residents' doors to wake them up and alert them to the emergency. Then you and the residents will evacuate to the basement or lowest level possible into your space, taking your flashlight and radio with you, as well as your occupant list for the building. Once you get down to your safe haven, you'll want to get under heavy furniture if available. Otherwise, get down on your hands and knees and use your arms to protect your head and neck. Stay there until the storm has passed. After the tornado or severe weather has passed, if anyone is injured or trapped, please help them and call WUPD or 911 for medical assistance. You can turn on the radio, TV, or go to the emergency website to get updated information. It's also very important to remember to use telephones for emergency calls only. We need the circuits open to make emergency calls. Please use text, email, or social media to contact other residents, family members, or staff. And much like earthquakes, if the building is not safe to stay in, then go to your emergency assembly point or another building to take shelter. For a few of the emergencies, we have discussed going to your emergency assembly point. Each building at WashU has an emergency assembly point designated. It's an evacuation area where you go to assemble when you need to exit the building. It is denoted by a green sign with a red exclamation point and then a number that corresponds to that building. One way to find out where your emergency assembly point is for the building that you live in or have classes in is by going to the emergency website, emergency.wustl.edu. There's a map, like on the slide, that shows all of the EAPs. Another tool to help you find your assembly point or for emergency procedures for a particular building are our building emergency information and evacuation maps. They are generally posted near major doorways or elevators in each building on each floor. The top half of the map tells you basic emergency procedures, such as what to do for a fire, medical emergency, or severe weather or tornado. And the bottom half is a map of the floor you're on. It lists the building location, the floor, the emergency number to call. The colored arrows show your evacuation routes and lead to colored stairwells. There are also fire alarm pull station and fire extinguishers listed on the map. And then at the bottom right, you see an outline of the building and buildings around it, as well as the assembly point for that building. Please look for these in buildings you reside in and take classes or frequent. If you work with students and large events, you may be required to have a written emergency plan for the event. The fire code requires this for any events having 1,000 or more attendees. If it's a smaller event, it still may be a good idea to have an emergency plan. We already have these in place for such large events such as 13, orientation, wild, and commencement. For more information about designing an emergency plan for your event, please contact the Emergency Management Office at 935-9261. For a review, take a few seconds to think about what would you do if you were confronted by a gunman, attacker, or violence on campus. Remember those 4 key words: run, hide, fight, report. Now, take a few seconds to think about what would you do if you saw a tornado or a tornado warning was issued and headed towards where you were at. You should be tuning in to local media to check out the weather. You should be alerting your residents and asking them to go to the lowest level interior space, take your flashlight, radio, and building occupant list. Remember to duck and cover, protecting your head and neck, or get under a piece of sturdy furniture if possible. Now, take a few seconds to think about what would you do if you saw a tornado or a tornado warning was issued and headed towards where you were at. You should be tuning in to local media to check out the weather. You should be alerting your residents and asking them to go to the lowest level interior space, take your flashlight, radio, and building occupant list. Remember to duck and cover, protecting your head and neck, or get under a piece of sturdy furniture if possible. We will have time for questions during RA training in August, but you can always call or email me at the information listed on the slide with questions related to emergency preparedness.